in those numbers, while financial giving to congregations was either stable or increased during the pandemic. What I didn't say last week, I asked some of my colleagues about that. Most of those, or some of those gifts that they received were for things like food support, things like that, that were also quoted in the study last week. So that marked the stabilization of their budget. Then after that, we talked about a strategic planning process that People of Hope engaged in to identify a kind of revised mission statement as well as some core values. I'm going to go ahead and ask Mike to throw those up on the screen. So during that year-long, about year-and-a-half-long process, we condensed People of Hope mission statement to God's love made real for all without exception. This was a mission statement that was adopted by People of Hope at the 2022 annual mission event in January. That mission statement is also they are going to be engaged in, and what they value is being made shown in how they are engaging in those things. Does that make sense? So here is the first list of ministries. I know the type is small. These are all our worship ministries. Okay? Again, I'm going to go through this real quick. And I want you just to take some time to reflect if these reflect our mission statement and or our core values. And then I'm going to ask for feedback. So in worship ministry, we have two music groups. We have Spirit of Joy, and then we have a group, Spirit Driven. We have decorators who decorate for the seasons. All right? We have a hospitality kind of ministry that's aligned with worship. These are people who provide cookies and coffee, people who show people where to sit, who greet them as they come up to the door. We have a volunteer group, or a volunteer really, who maintains our activity bags. Welcome table, I would throw in with greeter there. Sorry. We have communion ministry, those who serve communion, who set up and clean up communion. We have our audio-visual ministry, those people who run soundboard, who run our PowerPoint for worship, those folks who put together PowerPoint for worship, and individuals who man our live streaming capability for worship. Maybe a little less than a minute. Let's talk about the things that you see on the screen. Is there anything that you would take off? Is there anything that you would add? Is there anything that you would revise? Yes, Larry. I'll get you.
Spirit driven could be taken off. Between a combination of things, one of our members sings with the Heavenly Choir now. Health issues are affecting 3 or 4 of us, and we just don't have the numbers. Our goal was never to go below 4.
So what was being said was that Spirit Driven, one of the singing ministries, it's the ministry that was mostly men. The numbers, I said mostly. So we're getting off track here a little bit, was suggesting that we could take that ministry off because numbers just aren't there. If there were more numbers, would that be something that could exist in the future? Or are we just saying it's done? Yeah. Do we need readers? That's the big question. Readers. My preference is yes, that we do need readers. And there's a variety of reasons I can give you for that. First, I, in the past, have appreciated that not one voice is dominant during worship. I'm very keenly aware that at times my voice has become very dominant during worship. So if we have another spot to have just another voice, that would be great. I think it's great also to not ask our lay worship leaders to be readers as well, because pretty soon that position is going to expand to some pre-pandemic things as well. So pretty soon I'm going to have those worship leaders lead prayers, do all that kind of stuff too. So just to add a third voice in it would be great. Plus, I also like the idea that the proclamation of the word is not only, again, done by the clergy person. So if you understand the way that Lutheran worship is structured, that word position, the suggestion is always to have a lay reader there. So whether that's the worship leader or not, but I prefer it to not be the worship leader. That's just me. I've thought about it. Yeah, Larry.
We haven't done it that I know of post-pandemic, but pre-pandemic, we had our young readers reading. And I think that's awesome, to have our kids who are learning to read, reading the gospel out loud and being accepted for that, rather than waiting until they're confirmed or until they're, young adults.
Yep. So Larry, so the first question was, do we need readers? This last comment was, what happened to the young readers? But pre-pandemic, we had young people read. I need to say that no one has told them that they can't read. They're just not signing up to read. Okay, so people aren't just volunteering to read. Because we're just not getting the amount of volunteers that we need to manage them all separately. And the suggestion was have like a host team that would include the greeters, the ushers, the welcome table person, all doing kind of filling in that host team role, but doing those 3 different duties during the course of a Sunday morning worship service. Anything else? Yeah.
I would like to see Spirit of Joy reorganized some way.
Okay.
So that you don't, when you decide to sing, you're not committing your life, but you may be singing for a Sunday
So the suggestion was to reorganize Spirit of Okay. Mm-hmm. We're starting to get some attendance where that's required. The past couple of weeks, because of where Spirit of Joy is, and that's this morning where I recruited an extra server because I was the only person singing in a microphone, and the only reason that we need to ensure that someone is singing in a microphone isn't for those who are gathered here; it's for the online experience. So, because you can't hear the folks in the sanctuary or in the worship area, sorry. There's a little bit of my church nerd coming out. You can't, it doesn't pick up very well online. So we're going to go ahead. If you have any other thoughts, feel free to let me know. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our educational ministries. And this is kind of what we offer here. Now, some of these groups could also be considered fellowship groups. So again, some of these are difficult just to categorize in one place or the other. I just chose one randomly. So right now we have our Learning Time Ministry. And our Learning Time Ministry has 2 Learning Time coordinators and I think 3 teachers. The pandemic really
with adult learning time. And I would like some feedback from this group because we've not had very many people sign up for one Sunday. Is that something we should try to continue or forget that and just have, Pastor Dan just do all of them?
or stop doing them. Yeah, Mike. The MLT wanted to wanted to kind of be the leaders in that, so we haven't made a public sign-up sheet for that. It was really an MLT project at this point. Are you interested in here? I guess the question that Larry is trying to ask is, are you interested in Yeah, Lori. Okay. So another voice for a mixture of presenters for adult learning time. Anything else on this list? Yeah, Lori. Need to make that a priority. Yes, Joyce. Yes. He used the REI word. The return, ROI, sorry, the return on investment. He's questioning the return on investment at this point. So, yeah. One more. This is the slide I want to talk about today. Not because of our interest, by the way. We do a yearly water stop for the Med City Marathon. We do Adopt a Highway. We have our Hope Garden. That could be seen as just an internal ministry, but it also involves a large number of volunteers outside of our congregation. So that's why it's listed both in community and property. And that includes the Summer of Service kids who we host on a yearly basis. We host Operation Bedroll, Salvation Army Bell Ringers. We've had different groups do that. Whatever else may arise. And the other thing that we could add here in the community that's only listed as property management is Stewards of Hope. Stewards of Hope has also involved a large amount of community members to do the ministry they're engaged in. or promote in a different way. Right. So what was we've had one person coordinating our Family Promise ministry that has really changed, and that ministry has changed. We dedicate half of a day of our building use for Operation Bedroll. If we determine that Operation Bedroll doesn't sort of fit in our mission and vision, and we could put another ministry or group that would fit in that slot during that time, because so many people are begging to be in our place. Yeah, they put up a sign generally saying, yeah, Marilyn and Marty, and then Lori is what I saw.
If you put up summer service and operation for Bedroll, you need to put up Boy Scouts of America. Because they,
Because we host them.
we host them and we host them in our parking lot 24/7, 365 days a year.
Yep.
So
Boy Scouts. Yeah, Marty. Mm-hmm.
Discontinue our association with Open Table. I disagree.
Okay. So voice that.
My reasons would be, maybe we had 3 people involved. Last time we tried to do something as People of Hope Night, people from Drumheller
Okay?
This is gonna take a lot of discussion. I disagree. I wasn't there whenever this happened to Larry and others. But when I've been there with a family from here, they are in the truck, working, participating, and everything's fine.
So there needs to be, what I've heard is there needs to be discussion about our involvement in the open table ministry. There's been some folks who have had negative experiences, people who've had positive experiences. Worries about that negative experience not only happening in the kitchen, in the privacy of a kitchen, but happening in the community, in the way that it's served. Again, the other voice saying that that hasn't been my experience at all. So it looks like we'll take that discussion back to that committee and talk a little bit more about it. Okay? So know that we heard both of you. It's a larger discussion than we can have in a minute, right? So I have one final question to ask because this is a time-sensitive one. In the past, we have collected Christmas gifts from both the Women's Shelter and for Link during our season of giving. I committed us, along with the person who runs the Women's Shelter Connection, to collecting gifts for the Women's Shelter this Christmas. I had to. We are wondering if we should also commit to providing gifts for Link at this point. Yes. Joyce, Stacy. Yep. Yeah, so raise your hand if we want to support Link during the Christmas season. Okay, we want to. Yes. We'll just do both. Yep. 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 Educational trips for 2023, okay? Because there's a team that is the same mission team who planned the trip this year, wants to know what people want to do next year so we can start that planning process a lot earlier, all right? So thank you so much for your feedback. Know that we'll take this and discuss it in a team, and we will report back to you. Have a great day.